Okay. Hello, guys. Today we have as a guests two very interesting people from Ton Society, or I mean from Ton Community, founders from Ton API and founder of Ton Keeper. But this is like two projects of you both, so basically you shared it between you. And today we're gonna have like talk about Ton Keeper and Ton API specifically. So if I can ask you like to present yourself, just share a bit something.
Yes, with pleasure. So my name is Oleg Andreev, and I'm working on TonKeeper full-time right now. And previously my experience is kind of coming from web design and building applications. And at some point in my life, I discovered blockchains and kind of converted myself into a cryptographer. And
When exactly? If I may ask.
it was like around 8 years ago.
Okay, so quite an eternal time in crypto.
Yeah, I started figuring out what's the big philosophical point behind blockchains and how to make them scalable and secure, and how to make bring the security up to the product level, to make it accessible to people. And spent quite a lot of time on kind of deep technological parts, and now I'm kind of bubbling up to the surface area and getting back to building products with all this technological stack below.
Okay.
And I discovered Ton quite recently and trying to apply all my experience to it right now.
Also, how long are you working with Ton?
It's like probably less than a year or slightly more than a year, something like
So
that.
it's really fresh.
Yeah, it all happened before me, but it's very early times. It's just getting started.
Early adoption.
Many things are yet to be invented, and we're right in the middle of it right now.
Okay, can I ask you?
Yeah. Actually came from mobile app experience. So I was building apps, different startups, not Web3 startups, but I'm from conventional field. But I actually started to work with Ton slightly more than 2 years ago. So my first project on Ton was Ton.app, the app catalog for Ton apps. So you can find a lot of apps there to see what's there in the ecosystem. So what useful tools you can use. And then I joined Oleg to help him build TonKeeper. So I'm responsible for Ton API. TonAPI.io. So this is an explorer and API to make work with Ton way simpler.
Okay, so if we already like touched this topic, can you explain more how Ton API was like burned and what was the sense of making it? Why you decided to invest your time in this kind of project?
You see, when I started to work with Ton, we figured it out quite quickly that it's very hard. And as a technology, Ton is way more complex and low level than other blockchains. So it's super hard to make trivial things trivial for other blockchain things on Ton. So, for example, let's say you want to send NFT from one wallet to another. It's actually not so easy, and usually you have to build a binary series of commands and binary type to make this kind of operation. So a lot of trivial things are done very difficultly. This is because Ton is very much optimized and distributed type of blockchain. So it's the design of Ton is way more complex. So because of this, the infrastructure needed to make work with it way easier. So it became obvious instantly for us that we need to build infrastructure. We need to build this place where with which developers can build their application relatively easier. That's how Ton API was born.
Do you see any potential like for any similar projects to yours? That like, does Ton blockchain requiring more infrastructure or more simplifying tools?
For sure.
like
I
this?
mean, actually, this is going to be a huge field in the future, I believe. So right now, we do not have much competitors. Ton Whales have some kind of API, but small one. Also, most of the developers using Ton Center, which is open source, kind of like this abstraction layer, which simply allow you to work with blockchain with any node, but using HTTP instead of ADNL. So it's simplifying communication process, but does not provide you any higher level of abstractions. So we're still working with raw transactions, raw blocks, and so on. So what we are trying to do here is to offer a higher level of abstractions. So you can work with jetons, with tokens. That's a word in Ton ecosystem for tokens. With NFTs, with money transfers on a high level. Seeing what happened, how it happened, but not knowing how it's working inside. So because many things in Ton inside looks not so easy. I mean, like when you transfer some NFT, it's actually a series of transactions inside blockchain, which happens one after another. And if you will try to parse it yourself, you will have to write quite a bit of code to analyze all those processes.
And now when a hackathon in Prague and like everyone around kind of struggling with FunC, and you are building this kind of abstraction level of tools, helping developers to onboard much more easier, do you see any like timeline when there are going to be like much more tools? So it will be like the same for the developer to start to work with Solana, Ethereum, or like Ton?
I think in a year. I think next year we will have way better infrastructure and tooling for Ton blockchain. So it's actually require a lot of time because building infrastructure is a hard process. So that's the reason why blockchains do not evolve as fast as we want them to, because infrastructure is needed. And actually, for example, if you will take a look at Ethereum blockchain, the infrastructure for it was, it's still building around, and it took I guess 6 years or so to build all the infrastructure to have this point where we are now. So I think Ton will be able to make it faster, but still, it's not a question of months or two. It's
going to require still much lot of progress.
So I think in a year, the threshold for new developers to come inside the Ton will be on par with Ethereum blockchain. I hope so.
Okay,
but
basically
not in time sooner than a year.
But that's a good timing. We still right now have a crypto winter, so basically after the winter, many developers would be able like to on-ramp like much more easier, and basically saying like the Ton is the same simple as like other blockchains.
Yeah, absolutely. So another point here is that we're still discovering how to build applications in Ton. Ton exists like as a technology for almost 3 years now, but it doesn't come with an instruction on how to use its low-level facilities to build applications, and we're discovering what is the correct and incorrect way to do that only in the recent months.
So this is kind of a game
and
that
so,
you're going through.
Until you figure this out, you don't even know what kind of infrastructure you're missing or what kind of like intermediate tools you need. And right now we have some kind of like critical like minimal mass of projects and attempts to build something cropping up, and you see that some of them are nicely designed, some of them are not designed very nicely, so we analyze why is that, what's the difference, and then we understand how you should approach certain patterns in application building, and then we know what kind of tooling we actually need, and then we can start doing it, and then it will take a little bit of time to develop, and then it will unleash the real potential of Ton for the next wave of developers, because it will make it much easier to build applications. You would have this kind of experience and tooling that will guide you. Sort of like everyone knows about smart contracts, like Ethereum smart contracts. So Ton multiplies this by a million, because Ton is designed to scale, and as a result, the way to use the scalability of Ton means that you have to break your programs into little pieces, and now it's a very weird environment that people are not used to. Instead of writing one big fat program like they used to in like normal computers and in Ethereum, in Ton it's now a network of little independent programs that have to communicate with each other, like authenticate to each other, and this is mind-blowing how complicated this is. And only right now we understand whether and how, like in which shape this is a correct way to go, and what kind of tooling we need to make it easier to work with. So things are kind of shaping up right now, and I'm so excited to see like what kind of infrastructure we'll be building in the next year.
Okay, I'm interested actually, like excited to ask you. You have TonKeeper, you have Ton API. Is there like some kind of umbrella company which is like covering it? And if there was any other like initiatives towards like developers that you're gonna bring in the future, or if it is like two projects that you're gonna concentrate on for the next 2 years?
In fact, this is one company, like one team with like shared expertise. And we look at this as actually like three directions. There is consumers, there's businesses, and there is developers. And from the perspective of consumers, the wallet is the essential tool that allows them access to the blockchain.
My main touch point.
Yeah, it's your like browser to the internet, right? This is where you see all your balances with all the sorts of things that you own on the blockchain. And like to make it easy to use, you need a powerful backend. So we need a backend that kind of makes the Ton nicely available for the wallet, but it would not be, useful enough for the community if that backend would be private to the wallet. And so Oleg is building Ton API as a proper independent product that is useful not just for TonKeeper wallet, but any wallet or any application, and makes sense of the complexity of Ton packaged up in a nice API. And from the business perspective, both of these tools are essential as a consumer payment device and as a system for accounting, for interacting with Ton, for any use cases concerned with payments. And one of the examples is our innovation in subscription payments, like the first one on the blockchains.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Ton scalability is what actually allows us to do that with the user experience on par with centralized systems.
Okay.
And we think that all of these solutions, they kind of like depend on each other, and this is why we want to develop them together as one team, that they kind of feed on each other.
Okay. I'm gonna add something. Okay. I just had a question like around
totally agree.
Okay.
I would like to answer your next question, I guess.
Question around like Ton API. Are you gonna monetize it some way? Because like if it is like some kind of work that you are doing, you are using it in TonKeeper, you are monetizing TonKeeper through fees, I suppose. And then like if there is any business model behind like Ton API, maybe in the future.
Yeah, actually, we want to monetize Ton API at the point when the usage of our product, because right now it's free. So at the moment when the usage of it wouldn't cost for us some noticeable amount of money. I mean, I'm talking about server cost, not the development cost. So when we will feel like pressure paying the server cost of coming from other parties using our API, then we will come with some paid plans. So we understand our responsibility for the Ton ecosystem. So we would not, offer like some unreasonable pricing. So we will be very careful selecting the pricing. But at some point, it will be needed just because some use cases would put a lot of pressure on us in terms of paying the cost for servers. But at the moment, we're still okay, even though we already have a bunch of customers and we have a lot of requests already. But at the moment, we still have like not so big amount of servers, so we can cover those costs ourselves. But in the future, we will came with monetizing plans. So I think how it will look like is you can use our service for free for some amount of requests per second or requests per day. But there will be some API methods which will be available only for paying customers.
Okay.
Some specific ones which super cool. For example, ability to send push notifications if you're building a wallet could be this
premium feature.
Payment feature, because in this case the users who will use this will be our direct competitors of TonKeeper. So we'll ask them to pay some money money for us. And also, but when you will start like sending like dozens requests per second, then you will have to pay for the request, I guess, because it's just will be some costs for servers, for infrastructure, which we have to cover.
Okay. Can you share with us like any numbers around like Ton API? How many projects using it?
We did
Or
not
what is your
done-
like expectations? How many projects would like onboard on it in the future?
Yeah, right now we have like more than 100 apps created inside our API. So I mean, and using it. So it's hard to tell you the exact number because we did not work on this kind of statistics. Sometimes we have people who just trying to DDoS or like flood request us. So we have to moderate it and ban users who send too much requests, which doesn't have any meaning, like any use cases, just loop requests. But at the moment we're seeing I would like to say about 5 big players who use our API heavily.
Okay. What is your plan for the future? How many projects you would expect that there would be like? Because what I'm interested, you are kind of recently in a Ton community in general, but also you did like huge progress towards like bringing a lot of value back. And probably you've already like seen this growth line, how projects like onboarding, how the whole market is developing. If you see any like perspectives, how many players gonna be here like in 2-3 years, like when next bull market gonna be. So I'm just like excited to understand how big activity is gonna be on Ton in the future through perspective of projects that is going on, like to load in.
Yeah. Well, truth be told, right now the biggest customers of biggest users of Ton API is not the guys who really do not know how to work with Ton and who want to get this first experience, but more or less experienced guys who just using us for some specific use cases. For example, we have very good API for retrieving NFT data or JETONS data, so they're using us for this. And what we want to be, actually, like our strategic goal, is to be this place where somebody who do not know anything about Ton can come and find perfect, understandable, easy examples how to build something using our API. So we have we want to have this full cycle of tools from for example, you can come find some method to mint NFT, and you can develop minting NFT minter in a day, for example, or something like this. You can subscribe to some events and get instant notifications when something happened with your wallet and react with it and so on. So we want to be somewhere there, but we're not ready yet, so we're still developing those features. So we want to be the first place, like first step for Ton developers.
Okay, I understand this because now you still have this kind of early adopters, and this mass adoption will come probably like in a year when it will be much more easy.
Answering your
like
question, I actually seeing the community growing exponentially. So more and more developers coming, and the biggest problem, that's why I'm saying about this stuff. The biggest problem is those new developers who come actually struggling to find the good bootstrap templates, good path how to start building something, and some of them just give up and go away just because they did not find like good way to start developing for Ton.
Do marketing some way like Ton API for new builders?
No, not yet. I mean, we do not need actually marketing at this point because people are sharing us as a tool which solves the problems. The only marketing thing which we come up with is just to make our main page at the tonapi.io the explorer for Ton, and we are working hard to make this one of the best explorers out there for Ton.
Okay.
Because like any developer have to use Explorer to find out what's happening in the blockchain. Ton. And right now, I mean, in the beginning there was a lot of explorers for Ton, but then the NFT was developed, then the Jeton standard was developed, and most of those explorers did not support all this functionality, and it's required for users to see. I mean, you're seeing some wallet, you have to see all NFTs, all Jetons which are out there, the history of those, what NFT transactions was made, and this is the hard part. This is what actually hard to build on Ton. I mean, this kind of explorers. So we build one, and if you want to use a good explorer, tonapi.io is a good option for you. And because of this, people are coming and they see this address. That
Whole solution around.
They're looking at the URL and they looking at seeing Ton API. So they knowing that the API is here. They seeing this header with buttons, so API, and that's how people are coming to Ton API. So that's our marketing strategy.
It's actually a great organic growth channel. Totally makes sense. Would you like to add something?
No, it's perfect.
Okay, thank you for this answer. So if we can transfer to TonKeeper, what was first, Ton API or TonKeeper?
TonKeeper was the first one, and then we quickly learned the conceptual gap between low-level tools that Ton provides from scratch, and what we need for the excellent experience for the users. And this is how Ton API was born. It fills this gap. If you know how Ethereum works, it's
tried to understand based on your presentation yesterday.
Yeah, after 6 years, still you have this thing where you need to add manually a token to a wallet, so the wallet knows about the token. So Ton API allows us to just list your tokens like you would expect. Like if someone sends you coin, you don't need to configure anything in the wallet; it just shows up automatically. And this is thanks to this indexer that understands the meaning of all these transactions and contracts on the blockchain and gives you this high-level API to give you all the balances that you might have. And that extends way beyond tokens. If you have an NFT on an auction, it knows that it's still your NFT, even though technically it's configured with some other contract and it has some kind of complicated graph underneath. In the wallet, you see, this is my thing. It's probably having a different, state, and instead of a button to transfer it, I have a button to take it off the auction, for instance. And Ton API allows us to do that. Now, so back to TonKeeper. TonKeeper's idea is that this is your portal to the blockchain, and what we want to, our goal here is to have as many users as possible on TonKeeper, so they are able to use all sorts of assets and applications that exist on Ton. And from the technology perspective, the question is, how do we scale this up? Because it's a decentralized network, everyone's doing everything. How do we we cannot possibly just put all sorts of buttons into the wallet, so how do we support this? And the vision is in a combination of some open standards that we put out to standardize some relationship between different assets in the brute force work to support common and popular features right into the wallet, and ways to embed and interact with third-party applications smoothly so that user experience is excellent, but we scale up the interface and don't have to do all the work for integrating with millions of apps. And this is how we see the evolution of the wallet.
How you came up with this idea? Why you decided to start from wallet, if there were any wallets on the market, and what was the story behind it?
Well, in the start, there actually was just one wallet in the market, just one wallet, which was released originally by Telegram team. So it's a moment, before this whole sex thing, Telegram released the wallet.
You mean @wallet?
Yes. No, not @wallet. Toncoin wallet. So it was actually set of apps. It was iOS app, Android app, and desktop app.
Okay.
Those apps was pretty simple. They were all built around Tonlib, and they actually all they allow you is just to store some money and send them and retrieve the seed phrase. That's all. So the functionality was really simple. They did not offer much, but they all were open sourced. And that's actually with what the community started to work on. I mean, those were initial wallets, but the problem was since they were open source, nobody actually was developing or improving those apps, because they were developed by Telegram team, and Telegram could not work anymore in Ton. So those apps were abandoned. And the truth is the source code wasn't really easy to understand. And, this is a case where open source community did not want to develop or improve those apps by themselves. So we see the opportunity here that we can build a new app which will offer all other experience, all the rich experience which regular users need. So that's how Tonkeeper was born. So we decided to build everything from scratch, because in the beginning we were thinking about starting to improving these official open source wallets, but we quickly realized that to move fast we have to start everything from scratch.
Okay.
The only thing which interesting that in the beginning we have slightly different vision which we changed while we were growing. So the initial vision was we were building the universal crypto wallet, which had Ton as centralized blockchain, but we also write some code to support Bitcoin and Ethereum. So initial versions of Tonkeeper actually contain the Ethereum and Bitcoin code. So they were able to store Bitcoins and Ethereum coins, but this feature was hidden. It was just hidden, nobody saw it. Just because we were still arguing, so what should
Two
be
of you?
we actually have third co-founder, so we were arguing which positioning for the app is the right. So and we came up with the solution that right now, for Ton ecosystem, the Ton centered wallet is more important than this universal one. So I think many people will right now. Many of you will agree that it's a good solution.
Strategically, it totally makes sense.
Yeah, because in this case we can focus 100% of our attention on Ton, on feature for Ton. Otherwise, we'll have to split our time and build different tools for different blockchains, for Ethereum, for Bitcoin. It will be way harder. So that's it.
Okay. Actually, I've bought my first Ton coins through Tonkeeper, because I've seen add wallet at Telegram. I clicked through it and I okay, textual bot, and sometimes passed, and then I've seen Tonkeeper. I don't remember even somewhere, and I've compared it on App Store with other Ton wallets, and your design just bought me. I don't okay, this one I like it. So actually I'm using Tonkeeper. I've used it for recent time, but now I'm going to Huobi just because of staking. And I have two questions. First of all is how popular is your wallet among competitors? How do you see your positioning on the market? And what next is going to be brought in the Tonkeeper in the future? What plans do you have around it?
I think Tonkeeper is among the native independent wallets is the most popular one. Maybe the @wallet bot could be possibly a bit more popular because it's custodial wallet and it's having the lowest barrier to entry, because you don't need to do anything to set it up. Because you don't manage the key. And among non-custodial wallets, Tonkeeper is in the lead. And our vision is to support all the mainstream features under the single application to keep this position. And back to the monetization question that was discussed previously, we're in this situation where if you want to be in the center of the ecosystem, you should be a very good player in terms of decentralization. It should be open source, should be secure, should not be censoring, and should allow people to do whatever they want with their money, and not stand in between and not collect rent or anything like that. However, you want to make the thing sustainable, and if you look at the whole internet, blockchains and Ton in particular is something that finally allows us to, monetize all the, operations. So you could, pay for API, you can pay for, you can do like micropayments for some usage. So things could, like blockchains allow things to be sustainable on the internet and not just done by volunteers, while they, have interest in that. And still, to be an honest player, you want to be earning money on the commercial utility that people have for themselves. So if you just transfer money, from one account to another, that's just your personal business, and it should not be tracked, should not like leak your privacy. It should be free feature. However, if you're making money somewhere, you go in the markets, you trade, or you are using some like commercial facilities for your business, that's where you get the value out of this infrastructure, and you would be willing to pay for this. Actually, you don't like you will be willing to pay some price and some fees to have easy and convenient and sustainable access to
and
those features.
Real example of it would be like you are a merchant, I'm a client, I'm sending you Ton coins for some kind of service, and you will charge him or you will charge me for transferring this value.
So we make the life easier for the merchant to earn money. So the merchant either shares revenue or like pays us the fee. So for instance, if you do subscriptions are completely decentralized contracts between the wallet and the merchant. From the user's perspective, they just pay the merchant the fee, the cost
Price.
of the subscription, and they don't have any middleman, right? From the perspective of the merchant, they could set up their own system to use this open standards to set up those subscriptions and use the wallet infrastructure and pay zero fees to anyone, well, except the blockchain fees, right? Or they could come to us and say, hey, you have the convenient UI and integration where we could just plug our product into this financial interface. And we would be glad to pay you a little commission for making this easy and secure. Because we're bringing the users, and from the perspective of the merchant, TonKeeper is a payment terminal. It's like you're deploying Visa or MasterCard to the people, and then the merchants are happy to
Sure.
sell their product with a more convenient manner. Or like, in modern times, it's something like Apple Pay and other NFC payment systems.
Okay. And question is like also, you are a non-custodial wallet, right? I should have my seed phrase. Question, is it a solvable challenge that I should, because now where I'm pissed off is when I'm buying Ton, each time I should go to the third-party provider where I'm paying like with my banking card and I'm getting Ton into wallet. I should do my KYC like again and again. They have some problems with remembering who I am and where I'm from. If it is like solvable issue that you would be able like decentralizedly, maybe like store my KYC like I don't know, NFT or token that I'm like already proven guy, and so I wouldn't be like hustling with this kind of.
Yeah, sure. So we actually had a lot of discussions about this. So we're totally aware about this problem, and the solution which we are sticking with and thinking about is to create this soul-bound NFT. Actually, soul-bound NFT standard is really close to be released.
On Ton.
Yeah, on Ton. So it is developing not by our team, but by friends of ours. So it will be there quite soon. So actually, we want to end up with partnership with some KYC providers. So we already had some amount of discussions and negotiations about this, and we want to end up having some soul-bound NFT on our blockchain, which actually will prove that you perform a KYC operation and prove your identity. And this proof of identity should be guaranteed by one of the KYC operators. And then when you are trying to buy some Tons, for example, with our wallet, if you have such an NFT on your wallet, which is soul-bound, so you cannot transfer it from wallet to wallet. This is what soul-bound NFTs are. And in this case, you would not be asked to provide any more KYC, so you already done it. So until it will expire, for example, in a
Yep.
year or some other term, it will depends on the KYC provider. You are good to make any operations which require KYC in terms of regulations.
Perfectly. I'm waiting for it. What's about like next question is, I'm able to buy Ton on TonKeeper and add wallet and so on. Am I able to sell Ton in TonKeeper? If there is any way that in the future I would be able like to trade basically like Ton inside of your wallet?
Yeah, absolutely. We're working on integrating different methods to expand the trading capabilities. So you could sell them through some trading interfaces, like centralized interfaces, and also you would be able in the future to use decentralized exchanges where you trade within Ton ecosystem different tokens and coins among themselves. So if you need a stable coin, you could exit position in some volatile currency and like buy some
Does it
volatile
mean-
stable coin instead.
Yeah, exactly. So does it mean that you will have sooner or later like USDT? That basically your wallet will continue and I would be able like to swap my position from USDT to Ton if I would like to trade inside of your wallet?
Well, one thing to understand is that we're not the bank. We ourselves cannot possibly issue USDT or
I
any
understand that.
similar currency. Ton is for sure designed to support all sorts of issued currencies, and it's just a matter of time and evolution of the ecosystem when big players come in and issue their tokenized assets on it. And after all, the blockchain platform is all about tokenization, right?
Yep.
Anything you have, you tokenize, put it on the blockchain. Now it's tradable, it's useful, and like reinforces the network effect of the whole ecosystem. So it's just a matter of time. I mean, if USD is still relevant by the time someone issues this on Ton, that certainly will be welcome.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for the answer. Next question is, do working actively on the marketing of your wallet? Do you have people who are doing like marketing for Ton Keeper? And how it works? Like, what is your actually like strategy to promote it?
Not so much at the moment. We're mostly working with the community to kind of educate and support users and like partners and like builders in the ecosystem. There's still kind of grassroots approach. So again, the wallet needs to be aware of many things that are happening in the ecosystem. So we're working with other teams that build like products and smart contracts and DEXs and everything to figure out common standards and ways to integrate their interfaces with the wallet and make sure that the users have like smooth experience. And at this stage, we believe that the wallet, if it's useful and integrates well with everything that the people need, the people will come and use it.
Okay.
So we're at this kind of growing and expanding stage where your main job is not to tell about the product, but
Building the whole infrastructure around
build
it
all
and
the
community.
necessary parts. Yeah.
From the way how you describe actually what you are doing, it looks like TonKeeper is like this part of work, Ton API maybe is this part of work, and then like this huge part of work with other people in around like trying to connect the dots and understand how you can develop like the whole thing. And it looks like suddenly that you are almost like not forgiving, but like someone really involved into the whole thing, trying to put it like from the ground.
Yeah, the funny part is, you think of this as layers, right? So at the bottom you have some hardware, then you have some networking, then you have some blockchain things, and then you have a product. And every time you want to add a feature in the product, you often find yourself needing to build multiple layers below, not just like add an endpoint on your backend and just go with it and like some buttons in the UI. You suddenly have to realize, okay, for this feature to work in a non-custodial manner, secure, etc., you need to write some smart contract. and maybe not one, maybe 5, and then you need some tooling to do that, and then they need to interop with some other standards and contracts, and so you probably need to develop them and or coordinate with other people. Then you have to do all this infrastructure work before you even put the button on the interface. I mean, you could make a shortcut theoretically and just say, okay, we'll take care of everything in-house, but then you build a centralized system and take upon yourself responsibility for other people's money and assets.
Okay.
And that's a whole different story. And why would you do that if, they invented the blockchain that scales for you? Except, it's just half the work. So you have to do all the intermediate.
Okay, and then there's
levels.
next following question, which I mean, I think find it very interesting. What you would like to build inside of TonKeeper that is now blocked some way that you can't build because it's missing on the infrastructure. I was listening for the talks of the guys here around the bar, and there was DAO is missing in Telegram or something like this. If there is any blocks that you see in other blockchains and that you would like to have in Telegram, what are the opportunities?
You're talking about Telegram, not Ton?
Ton, sorry, on
Yeah,
Ton blockchain, sorry.
The biggest blocking point right now is stablecoins, because if you're talking about DeFi and financial systems, actually the stablecoins is a holy grail there. So
Okay.
we really need stablecoins to build a lot of things inside. I also think we still need some standards for distributed applications, which we actually started developed ourselves. So Oleg, right, pretty good standard, draft standard, and already published for distributed applications. So everybody who developing on Ton should check them out and taking on notes. I think it's very important to come with single thoughtful standard for app developers to integrate their apps inside the ecosystem, inside wallets, inside other parts of ecosystem, and so on. So that's it, I think. Do you have any ideas?
Well, I wanted to give you an illustration of a problem. So we have subscriptions that I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
and for them we had to invent a new format for the wallet itself, for the wallet contract that you have that supports a feature called plugins. So every subscription is this plugin that is capable of pulling money out of your wallet without you being online. So normally with a wallet, what you do is sign a transaction with a cryptographic signature. So you have to press the button on the phone, and to make subscriptions work, you need some other people give a permission to pull money out of your wallet and not pay them in advance. They should be able to take 1 coin per month or something.
Yeah.
And to make this, your wallet should kind of add capabilities on the kind of smart contract level. So we did this, and it's infrastructure level update.
Okay.
Build all the intermediate layers, and now we support this, and now you have tokens and stable coins. And the question is, can you make subscriptions in terms of stable coins?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have USDT right now, but let's imagine for a second that it will come around tomorrow, and how do we support that? So it turns out that the current architecture of this plugins in the wallet only supports Ton coins, and you need to change it to a more generic one that supports more generic interaction with other contracts to make use of those stable coins. So you have to design this contract, design a new contract for those subscription contracts. You have to deploy this wallet and make it an open standard, and make sure that other wallets, like competitors of TonKeeper, also think it's a good idea and support it, and it's standard. Add the UI for the users to migrate their stuff from one wallet to another when they want to use this feature, and also make it clever enough so you don't have to upgrade in the next month because you want to fix a bug or forgot to add a feature. So you actually have to consider a lot of things and spend quite a lot of time to figure many intermediate steps out, just to say, hey, can we do the same thing but also pay in dollars instead of Ton coins? And this is an example of a feature that requires all sorts of research, development, coordination, and open work
But this is like super interesting feature in general because I used to work in crypto payment gateway, where you're basically paying in crypto and merchant getting payments in fiat or USDT, for example. And I remember when we would define like strategy for them, you should go like to this markets. For me, SaaS companies, software as a services, was one of the most interesting segments in general because like paying in crypto is normal. IT guys are familiar with this and so on. And there are no blockchains that would allow kind of these things. And basically, you are the first one, even in the world, who did like subscription in crypto. Is it like correct statement or?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. So
It's pretty great.
actually, more to
We're
say.
too humble about that.
Yeah, too humble about that because actually, like, this is huge problem. And like the company where I used to work in, they spending like really millions, like on development in general. There for them was hard to add like stable coins and so on. And we were like breaking our heads how we can make like subscriptions. And basically there were no answers how to do it. And then I like raising a question. Why the hell you were able to do it on Ton? Is it like because this is still too young like blockchain where you're able like to bring all those kind of innovations into infrastructure, or what the secret sauce?
So as like Alec just said, there is still one problem to be solved because the price of Toncoin is too volatile. So you could not
Definitely.
pay for SaaS on Toncoins because if you will use our subscription system right now, the price in Toncoins will be frozen. So it will be the same every month. But I mean, like the amount of Toncoins you're paying will be the same every month, but the price will be different. So we actually need to use stablecoins for real SaaS to get their payment for their service.
But you can do it like opposite way, right? You can like just saying I need from you $20 or 20 USDT per month, and you always can set up like the amount of tons that should be like transferred to the wallet.
Yeah,
And you
but
can like transfer.
how the smart contract will convert this? He did not know
Okay.
the price of tons. So.
It should be connected for some DEX probably then, like to know.
Don't imagine complexity.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. So the better way to have stable coins, and I'm pretty sure that the next like half of year, the first stable coin will come to Ton. I mean, there are a lot of trying already. I mean, we just had the Jetons was released how far ago?
2 months ago or 3 months ago.
So it's not enough time, but pretty soon we'll have plenty of stable coins. So that's for sure. And the only problem we have to solve to update once again the wallet contract, which is very horrible thing to do because users do not like when you are stepping into their daily routine, their daily usage of the app, and ask them to start some
Switch the
process.
version.
Yeah, the biggest pain when you are updating the smart contract of your wallet is that your address of your wallet is changing, and you already might be posted your address somewhere in different places. For example, you already might be accepting money on your wallet on your previous address, and now suddenly you have the new one. So it's pain in the ass. And from the UX side of view, we're trying to do our best. And actually, with this next update, which will be happening in the future, I think we will implement even more safe features. For example, you are already transfer all funds to the new wallet, but if you will receive some money on the old one, you will get the notification like, look, you received some money to your old wallet, so press button and you will retrieve this money to you will move them to new wallet. Features like this. But imagine, for example, you move all money to your old wallet, and suddenly you got NFT on your old wallet. So you could not, you have to have some Ton coins to move this NFT from old wallet to new one.
Okay.
So in this case, we will have to first move some Ton coins from new wallet to old one, and then return everything back, including NFT back. So this feature will be hard to, we'll have like a lot of moving parts, but we have to do this.
Definitely.
Yeah, just to clarify to this perfect explanation, I mean, it's a horror ahead of us, but just to be clear, we're not, moving things for the user, right? So the user is always under control. When you use the feature, like you want to open a subscription in, USDT, then the Tonkeeper will say, okay, you know what, your current wallet doesn't support this. So you could just, do nothing, or you could create another wallet and move some money there. So we have multiple options to do that on the kind of blockchain level and on UI level. So on the blockchain level, we may say, okay, you have a lot of NFTs on your old wallet. Maybe they could just stay there. Maybe for the users, it doesn't really matter that you have all this, old addresses with contracts, because it's just, you have the same key. It's all your stuff. How exactly it's located on the blockchain, it's really not very important. It's only important in terms of stability of your, address. And then, for instance, users of Bitcoin, they're used to generating random addresses every time you receive money, and the wallet just...
Sorry, just random question. Am I using like the same seed phrase with different wallet addresses?
Absolutely, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So in some sense, it doesn't really matter what address you have. What matters for you is that if you receive the money, it's displayed on a screen and you can do something about it.
Okay.
So it's accessible to you. Whether it's all moved or not, or stays on the old address, doesn't really matter. And it's a kind of open question, what is the best UI, what is more, understandable and more transparent for the people.
Question, have you thought about like multi-banking systems? Because BSD2 was released 5 years ago here, and this is basically allowing like third parties developers to aggregate data like from more banking accounts.
Yeah.
And you have one app where you have like 5 banking accounts, and I see like balances on all of them. So why I wouldn't see like in Tonekeeper on the old versions
We already do that. We already do that. You have old wallet like V3 that doesn't support subscriptions. You may still have some balance on it. We display it right away.
Okay.
If you want, you may move it. If you want, you can switch to it and just use it as a main wallet. So you have different options. The question is really how to package it up in the UI so it's not too ugly for the people, and also transparent enough so they don't freak out what's going on. And what was the about the plugging in the DEX. You had this point, like, can we plug the DEX? So plugging anything into anything is done through tokenization, really. So the way you plug in DEX is by using tokens.
Okay.
So that's like every time you want to connect the systems, then most of the time you have to design them around tokens that people have on their balance that represent some claim of some share or some units that they own in some system. If you use Uniswap and you provide liquidity, you get the liquidity token as a representation, as a receipt of the fact that you deposited some money there. And it could be fungible, or it could be non-fungible if it's non-fungible by nature.
Yep.
But it's token nonetheless. And this is where it's getting interesting, because looking forward in a year or two, you will see that Ton is an absolutely genius platform, and we're coming to the secret sauce that you asked 5 minutes ago. So Ton is a really genius platform that allows incredible innovation in the apps. And right now we're at the state where the lack of infrastructure obscures this fact for most of the developers and people. So when they come and see, okay, what are you guys doing here? And they look at the current state of APIs and programming languages, they see quite low-level pieces. And if they read the white paper, they see all this little bits. And they don't quite understand how it all kind of comes together, how it empowers you to build, efficient, scalable applications that scale literally like to billions of users. It's not clear how you would do that. If you refer to something like Ethereum and do similar thing in Ton, it would not scale. So you need this new paradigm. And the kind of documentation and tooling and necessary abstractions are still being developed. And we, like sitting right now here at the hackathon, we're trying to explain this to other people. We're kind of having a kind of sharper vision, still not perfect, but kind of we seeing what we need, what kind of abstractions, how things should be put together. But these ideas are kind of like in our heads right now. They're not fully crystallized in tools and languages and APIs. So one of the things that is absolutely brilliant on part of Oleg and the Ton API team is this abstraction of events and actions that bundles together a bunch of low-level transactions in the blockchain and says, okay, this is the token transfer. this one thing. And now you think in terms of, I just transferred a token. You don't think in terms of, oh, there are 4 contracts and they exchanged like 5 messages and the fees were paid, 6 times like along the way. You don't think about this. You just have this event with one action and some kind of combined calculation of the fees. So this is example of abstractions that we have to, offer on top of, base blockchain. And while they're not like fully done, we kind of see how they should be done. So we can build applications right now with this thought and maybe extract those bits out. But in the future, this will be more visible and easier to understand to everyone. And then more people will realize how powerful Ton is and how easy it is to build things on it at scale.
Actually, this is a perfect thing that you told about that not many people are able to get how genius is this thing actually, because I was talking with one crypto investment fund and they doing huge investments in Solana, Atom, Polygon and so on, and they was saying guys, you should look on Ton, and guys went through it and told I don't say it's very interesting, and it was how it's possible, what is missing on the market, what should be put it on the market, what should be how to inform market maybe even now. So this is really something game changer among other blockchains, because now it's Ton looking interesting, someone using it, but still there is Solana, Atom, Dot, who are much more popular among developers and so on. So basically, if there is any way or hack how to present to the market that it really game changer.
Well, you see, from the perspective of venture capitals, they sit in their office, and every week some new guy came in and saying well, guys, I developed this super fast, scalable blockchain which have millions of transactions per second. Give me money. So this statement is kind of cliche already in this crypto space. So those venture capitals came to Ton, seeing the same information, it's scalable, it's fast, and so on. And they saw this million of times because many blockchains have the same statement and use this for marketing. So this do not work anymore, in my opinion, and you have to apply different approaches to for marketing and so on. So I think the best way for Ton to doing its marketing is not relying on this speed and scaling stuff, even though Ton is incredible for speed and scaling, but it could not be used anymore for marketing. And for marketing, I think the best way is to use 2 things. So first one is the features for people. So not for crypto guys, not this hard to understand and hard to use features.
What would be an example, sorry?
Well, for example, in a wallet, we have to implement a lot of small and technically complicated features, which will eliminate a lot of problems for users. Let me give you some example, which is, I think, not realized anywhere, but we should be the first one who will realize it. Imagine you have the empty wallet on Ethereum with some USDT on it, right? You could not transfer this USDT to another wallet because you have no money to pay the fee, even though you have this money in USDT, right? So you could not use any DEXs and so on. So I think in Ton we have to fix this by allow users to make operation with jetons by paying for fee from the value of these jetons. So for example, you have 99 USDTs on your wallet, you have no tons at all, and this is quite frequent thing. I mean, it happens all the time, and then you can transfer this 99 tons to other wallet without any problems, and wallet will manage everything for you. I mean, it will use some third-party smart contract, verified one, which will take some small portion, a few cents from your USDT jeton, convert them to Ton and pay for your transaction. So you would not meet any problems. And when you will confirm this transfer in this confirmation screen, you will see the fee in USDT, not in tons, which will be most likely okay for you, because who cares about a couple of cents for the transaction?
Okay, that's perfect sense.
I just forgot to tell you about the second thing which Ton have to use for marketing, and this is by completing this cycle of customer to consumer, customer to provider relationships. For example, very good idea, and the feature I'm waiting very much is Ton Proxy. So what is Ton Proxy? On the first. In the first enhancement, and first look, this is just VPN, which actually allow you to serve traffic without revealing your identity. And we know that VPNs is quite popular service, which many people used. So this is some proven use case. But all VPNs which are in use right now is basically either centralized or have some drawbacks to by controlled by someone. For example, Tor. I mean, it's not fully secure and have a lot of drawbacks and so on. And also, it has not the best speed. I mean, it's quite slow. So what Ton Proxy can offer is it wouldn't be controlled by anybody. So it will connect directly the people who set up their servers and provide these VPN servers and the customers. Directly without anyone in between. And in this case, there will be no additional cost for marketing. For example, those companies who provide VPN services have to charge you for their marketing because they have to find you as a customer. And at the same time, they will be able, the Ton Proxy will be able to provide way more security because no government can in control of it, apart from Tor, and the better speed because the service provider gets real money from you. So he's interested to provide good speed for his customers, and he getting money directly from the customers. So this is a use case how the customers can be directly and in a decentralized manner connected with service providers, and this use case can be expanded to many more fields. So I believe the Ton Proxy will be the first example, but once we will have this working first example, other examples will come up exponentially one by one, and this is the second way to market Ton. Like, this is the thing which actually offers you services inside the ecosystem. So you can earn tons inside the ecosystems, you can spend them inside the ecosystem, and that's very important, what actually other blockchains in many cases do not provide.
It's an excellent input. I'm just thinking even how Ton community should catch up on this thing and how really like bring it up to the market, because again, all these services and like your general idea, there are going to be like more services you will be able like to use, and it seems more like, again, organic kind of growth, because like everyone will share it, everyone will tell like I'm using this and this, but it's not like public statement, like our unique value proposition is this and this, or
we're at the stage right now where you have technology with very little products and a lot in the pipeline, but when you really want to market the thing, when you can point to already working end-to-end, use cases and show how they're superior to, alternatives on other platforms, because they really leverage the what Ton has to offer. And this basically means that, for the next year, just, put the head down, build, and let the products, speak for themselves. And then you can show, yeah, guys, look, if you're wondering whether Ton is actually delivering on its promise, then it's not just, genius technology and, piece of code. It's actually working products with, community and people. And the only thing you need to do now is to scale up, the businesses, because technology scales. It already works. It's proven with, a smaller, community. And then if you're interested in Ton and you feel it's, it's proven itself, then just scale it up on a business side, bring more people, market the solutions to them.
Okay, I actually really like both of your inputs. So for me, it's still like kind of take away from it, like we should wait a little. Once like it
no,
will
you
be
shouldn't wait. You should build.
You should build. Yeah, you should build, but you should build, but with your head down, and basically then products will speak for themselves. It will just, time will come. And it probably gonna be quite soon, still, like in terms of.
Yes.
Okay. Another question: for any advice for the developers, who are the most suitable to start to work with Ton? Like, which developers should step in first and how they should start. If you have any advice, like around like platforms, maybe some kind of educational materials and so on.
Well, good thing is the experiences in other blockchains would not help you much. Because
Good input.
Great thing.
yeah. I mean,
So anyone from Web2
yeah,
is
so
welcome.
that's mean that if you are from Web2, if you are building, for example, web applications, you welcomed here because if you will come to, for example, Ethereum ecosystem, you have to learn a lot, and other guys who are, those thousands of developers who came before you will have advantage, and you will have a lot of competition. Here it's different. It's not so many people right now, so you wouldn't have such big competition in Ton right now, and you are welcomed just if you came from any field. So you can be TypeScript developer, you can be Go developer, whoever, you will be welcomed. Anyway, the instruments here are different. Most of the tooling right now is available for JavaScript, for TypeScript, and for Golang. There are some. There are also a lot of tooling for C++, which used initially to develop Ton blockchain. So that TonLib and those initial libraries are written on C++. So apart from other blockchains, there are not much in Rust, for example, at the moment. So Rust developers would have to write all the libraries from scratch, but I've seen some already started to doing this. I mean, eventually, in the end of the day, all fans of specific language will have to develop their own libraries to work with Ton. In Ton API, actually, we use Swagger to implement this cross-compiling to different languages for SDK to use our API. But this is API, and many developers want to work natively with blockchain. In this case, you have to write a lot of stuff if you are not JavaScript or TypeScript or Golang developer or C++ developer at the moment. But the community is very welcoming for anybody. Well, I just forget that there are a lot of stuff for Python, actually, just because C++ libraries can be used very well in Python. This is mine.
Also Ton Foundation is leading multiple efforts on education and support for the developers and users and people who want to build, like, who are not probably developers but who want to build some businesses around Ton infrastructure. And for instance, you could go to society.ton.org. It's a Ton Society portal where developers share their experience and educate each other and to tell you, if you're coming from another blockchain or if you're having some background from some other technology, they teach you how Ton works, where to start. And lately, the documentation effort was also improved. So if you go to ton.org/docs, you will find not just the white papers and some standard library description, but there are also quite nicely written articles about some aspects of Ton architecture, like how fees work, how messages are passing. So something, it's kind of low level, but it's explaining in a holistic way that helps you in designing your application, and hopefully these efforts will only grow.
Okay, perfect. So last question for today: do you hiring anyone? Maybe some people gonna watch this video and will know about it.
Well, we're always looking for talented and enthusiastic developers on all platforms, because we really have to work in many different levels. No specific openings right now, but we'll always welcome everyone who is having some great
super skills.
Super skills, because you need to do all the things at once. So if you have super skills, get in touch.
Welcome. Okay, got it. Well, then, totally last question: where people can follow you? Do you do any personal blogs or blog around TonKeeper, sharing information anywhere publicly, so we can just put links in the description and people can find you?
Absolutely. First of all, we have some convenient Telegram channels for Ton API, TonKeeper, and support chats where people could hang out and discuss features and be in touch with the developers and our community managers. and like be like, you know, right in the same room with us. And also there is a like general like Ton community channel that is quite active in just, like posting all the news in the Ton ecosystem, and whenever we're building something, they're always excited to, you know, share information about that. So it's on Telegram you can find like @TonKeeper News, and subscribe to chat or channel. And there is also Ton API announcements channel. I don't remember the name though. Like, is it,
That's okay. We will put links in the
Yeah,
description so people can find it.
but yeah.
Okay, so guys, thank you a lot for sharing. Thank you a lot for this talk. I really much appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it as well.
I will ask visitors to like and subscribe, because we're gonna make more videos about like guys like you in the community who are really bringing value. And again, I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I also like to ask everyone to write in comments what features and what API methods do you need the most. So we'll go throughout those comments and check out what we can help you with.
Definitely, perfect. Those videos probably gonna be also like shared in the dev Ton community, so more people will see it relevant for you.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. Bye.